Welcome, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in.
Welcome to Wellbeing Makes Sense. I'm your host, Serge, and this is my beautiful wife.
I'm Claude.
So, today we're going to talk a bit about a very important subject, and the title is Take Charge of Your Life. Take Charge of Your Life. And we're going to look at the three most important aspects of life, and we're going to discuss them and debate them and see what we can learn from them. So, what are these three aspects?
So we're gonna dive into mental, physical, and spiritual.
Intro. So, basically, we're gonna look at our lives, do an introspection, and we're gonna look at these three aspects: the mental, the physical, and the spiritual, and set goals for them. If they are not well balanced, then we will not improve in our lives. We are not in control. So let's start by discussing mental. What do we see when talking about mental?
So when we were thinking about mental, we decided to focus on schooling, school system versus actual learning.
Learning. So when we're looking at the school system, we see kindergarten, pre-K, high school, college, university. We have all these great institutions, but we realize that a lot of people are not
Actually learning. Right.
Yeah. So there is a lot of good things, like if you want to become a doctor, a physician, you have to go to how many years again?
Um, 12, I think.
12.
12 years.
Well, and we need physicians. We need lawyers. Lawyers, I believe that's another 8 years, right? We need engineers and all these big professions, and we need extensive learning, to build this magnificent building and have all these thousands of people living there. However, there are many aspects of life that are not considered, that are not taught in school, that things that you and I didn't learn in school.
Right.
So, and we need to look at them. We need to look at them and see, because a lot of people are growing up without them. So let's give a few examples. Love and compassion. Did you learn about that in school?
Not really.
Really? Yeah, and we found out that in school there's a lot of violence. I mean, school is a breeding ground for violence, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have bullying, we have gangs, and not to mention
Peer pressure.
peer pressure. So there's a lot of opportunity for people to learn about violence, and in some aspect, violence is even glorified. There are some sports that are very brutal,
Yeah.
and when you are practicing these sports, you are hailed as a hero. You see your name all over the building. You are like the superstar there. Um, so love and compassion are things that we need to learn. That's what we need in this society.
What else you got?
We have help kids. School doesn't really help people figure out who they are. Basically, school, it's like a mold. School is like a mold that every kids have to go through it, and they need to fit that mold. It shouldn't be that way.
Yeah, because kids, they grow as individual from the home. They learn different ways. Some are visual, some write, some use their hands. But when you go to school, you have one teacher, and he or she teaches you in one way from a book. And a lot of kids fall behind because they cannot grasp that type of learning, that type of teaching. so they fall behind. So the school system basically sometimes it can suppress the abilities and skills that the kids grew up with from their home.
Yeah. Yeah, and in this, each kids have his or her own passion, as his or her own talent, and these passion and talents need to be developed, not suppressed. How can one teacher have 15, 20, 50 kids and promote all these talents at the same time? It's impossible. So a lot of talents are basically repressed in school. Um, I know for me, one of the things that I liked to do in school was drawing. Um, and really, I was drawing on everything. Everything. All my notebooks, all my books, school books. So I used to draw on everything. Um, but this wasn't something that was acceptable in school. You had your little time period to do some drawing, and
Then the bell rings, and then you move to the next.
exactly.
Right.
So, and this was a passion and at some point in high school, I had to come to the conclusion that I need to put this aside. I need to put it aside. I can't really function with it. And this was one of the talents that 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 was repressed, right? That was repressed, and I had to put it aside to focus on the more academic thing. So that's one of it's not it's not always the teacher's fault. It's the whole system. The system crushed so many talents, so many passion. So unfortunately, that's the way it is. So let's talk about money. How much did you learn about money?
I don't even remember. I think I took 3 months of economics, and it was basically reading newspapers and writing articles. It wasn't about balancing checkbooks. It wasn't about saving. So I would say it was very useless.
Yeah. And yet, for some reason, we seem to think that kids need to learn about all this algebra, all this calculus, but yet balancing a checkbook would be too hard for the kids to learn. So, so how much of these calculus and algebra have you used since graduating?
Uh, in the medical field, I would say none.
The same for me. The same for me. Um, I forgot almost all of them, and I still remember the punishment I used to have for
Oh.
not doing for not doing well in these things, and not to mention the feeling that you have when you're failing at all these things. When you get a D in algebra, a C in not a C would be good in chemistry, really. But so you have that bad feeling. They tell you that you're a failure, really, and which is a lie, which is something that I'm discovering as an adult, how much we are being lied to in terms of failure. What they tell you about failure?
Failure, basically, when you fail, you put it to the side. But what I've learned is that failure, it gives me time to go back to the drawing board. If A didn't work, let's try B. If B did not work, let's move on to C. It's not the end of life.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly, and I learned this quote from Thomas Edison. I know that there are many versions of this quote because when I went on Google about it, I saw so many versions. But I'll just read the one that I like the best. Thomas Edison, the one who invented the light bulb, said that I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. So we know that he tried many times but could not succeed. But all these were a learning experience. So when we, in real life, failure is just a learning experience. But that's not what we are taught with. And that's why so many people are depressed. So many people are down. Every time something doesn't work the way that we have planned it, we feel bad about it. And we tend to give up. So failure is really a learning experience. That's one of the things that we need to know. And we need to teach our children as well.
So what would you say the take-home message is?
Basically, it's continue to learn.
Yeah.
Continue to learn. Don't limit yourself to the formal education. All right. Read books, watch documentaries, do research.
Yes.
We found out that less than one American read a book per year. Most of Americans read less than one book a year.
Yeah.
So this is very sad. This is very sad. Looking at all the opportunities that we have, that we don't take advantage of it to learn.
So, if you're tuning in with if you're watching this video, please comment on the books. Share with us what books you're reading currently in your library. All right, we'll love to see it, and we'll share with you as well in the comments below.
All right. So let's go quickly on the
Physical.
the physical aspect.
Yeah. Physical. How do you take care of your body? You know, what does it need to function? So we know sleep, we know eating and well-balanced meal, we know drinking lots of water, and exercise. You want to break it down further?
Yes. I think that there's many aspects of the physical body, but the most important ones, the ones that we are mostly struggling with, I would say, are nutrition and exercise. These we are doing very poorly with that. America basically run on fast food, and these fast foods are destroying us. They are killing us.
There's a reason why it's $1. Think about it.
Yeah, we'll let you think about this one. So, and not just them. The way that we cook our food also have a lot of issues, and that's why we are getting so big, so overweight. We need to consider all that. We need to set goals for what we are eating, the way that and for our weight also. We need to consider all that. And what can we say about the exercise?
Exercise. Well, at least getting half an hour exercise a day, making sure that your heart rate stays up based on your age and your weight and your gender. You know, there's a certain amount of your heart rate needs to stay up to know that you're getting a good cardiovascular workout. So it's recommended at least 4 times a week for good exercise.
Yeah. So and this is and we will come back to this and give you more tips on how to do them. All right, as we ourselves, we are in the learning process. You know, we are both of us. We are trying to improve our nutrition. Mm-hmm. We are trying to improve our exercise program. Always reading and doing research about these things. See what type of exercise is best for us. Is really promoting good physical health. Not all exercise is really good, and we will come back to that another time. So let's look at our spiritual aspect. So when we talk about spiritual, we are talking about our relationship with God, basically. Mm-hmm. All right. Many of us don't have a strong relationship with God, and so we need to remember that God is trying to get in touch with us, what to be part of our lives. But he's not going to force himself into our lives. We need to open up so that we can build that relationship with him. Alright?
No, I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah. So and when we are looking at relationship, if you consider the relationship between humans, right? If I don't take time to sit down with my wife, go around, go to some places, have good time together, our relationship will never grow. Our relationship will never get stronger. If we don't take the time to talk to each other, to do things together, our relationship will just die.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with God. You need to take time to build that relationship with Him. He's already, He already wants to do it. So it's, we need to set time aside in our schedule so that we can communicate with Him, listen to Him, and talk to Him. What can we do to listen to God?
Well, the most important thing, a lot of people will be like, all right, we're staying in a room, quiet, and listen for God's voice. And we need to do a little bit more. God has already spoken to us, and it's in His Bible. It's in the Bible. If you open the book, open the chapters, you read it, you ask the Holy Spirit to help you discern what is said in the book, and that's the way God talks to you. That's the major way God speaks to you.
Yeah.
So you have to open the Bible.
Mm-hmm. And many of us neglect that part. Some people consider the Bible as fiction or all these kind of things, but when you start diving into the book, you see there's nothing more realistic than what is written in the Bible.
The issues that the characters of the Bible face is the issues that we face, and we can learn from how they dealt with it, how God brought them through, and what was needed for them to get through that issue that they faced. Because everything thousands of years ago is what we face today. Nothing really have changed. So the Bible has the wisdom, the words that can help us through the issues that we are facing right now.
Yeah, definitely. And you will relate to the characters of the Bible. You will see yourself there. So and the same promises that God made to these people, they are the same promises that God is making to us today. So when we read our Bible, we discover these promises. We discover the goodness, the kindness, the love of God for us. Then there's nothing else that we will feel compelled, we'll feel drawn to Him, and we'll feel like we need to have a relationship with God.
Yeah.
And the other aspect of the relationship, not only listen but also talk to Him. How do you talk to God?
Prayer. Everywhere. Mm-hmm. It's not just kneeling down. For me, I'm walking down the street, I'm driving, I'm having conversation with Him as if He's right there. Letting Him thinking through my thoughts. I sometimes even verbal. Yeah. You have to make God real. It takes faith, and that's where we're aiming for.
Yeah. One of my favorite authors said that prayer is talking to God like you talk to your best friend. Right? So He's our best friend. He's our Father. So we need to have good conversation with Him. So looking at all these three aspects of life, which one are you gonna work on?
I'm gonna take two, if I may.
Sure.
Exercise. I would like to exercise more during the week, and I wanna obviously continue to build my relationship with God. Okay, you never hit the top. it's always a work in progress. So I want to continue working with that.
Yes. Myself, I think that these are the same. I mean, I have different goals for each one of them, so none of them are, you know, I'm continuing to improve in my spiritual walk, spending more and more time with God every day. Exercise, physical aspect is really a struggle as well. So we are trying to get to that. And my mental education, learning, reading more and more books. Well, just bought a new book yesterday, so very excited about starting it. So please share, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe and share it with others. We hope that this has been helpful. Last word.
God bless you.
God bless you. And remember to check www.extraordinary.com, extraordinarydaddy.com, and get a copy of my book, From Man to Dad.
And check out SEAT Foundation Facebook page for updates.
So we'll see you next week. God bless.